So this was one that I sketched out a few weeks ago, and last week I did another drawing demo for Lee, staircase, if you remember that. Yeah. So I thought this week I'll just push on with this one a little bit, which I'm quite happy with the way it's going. Last week I had that photo which didn't have the right colour, so I had problems with the printer. So I was thinking, I quite like the colours I've got here. They're slightly different from here. But I don't want to make it too much about the background. It's more of a picture about the fireplace and these objects rather than all the clutter in the background. So I'm quite happy to just have that, just kind of push out a little bit. A little bit more here. So I've mixed a sort of off-white. And the other thing I quite like was this little bit of pink showing through. So it's quite nice to just have a what they call sort of broken paintwork, broken brushwork, so that you've got maybe some colours showing through from the layer underneath. So usually quite sort of thin paper. That can be that bit. I'm thinking perhaps a little bit in the mirror next. These are slightly cooler colouring, so I'll try that out. See how that looks. So I'm mixing a purpley grey with blue and red and a tiny bit of yellow, a little bit of yellow ochre. And then the lights I will leave. So to me it makes sense to sort of pop this in first and then the frame over the top. Soften it out a little bit, and then I think just warm it up a little bit at the top there. So a little bit of yellow in the mix there. And yeah, it's just much, I would say much easier with the oils, just because I can blend all these colours, which I quite like, slightly softer blended colours rather than the kind of dry brush that you get with acrylics. Just trying to leave a light shaped hole there. And just go to a clean brush. I think with the lampshade, I want to just warm that up a little bit, just a tiny bit of yellow, so a little bit of cabin yellow, just so it's not just a cold white colour. And then just soften that out a little bit, and sort of soften the edges just with the softest brush. Just give the Just try and create a feel for light being just slightly flared. Like a clean brush. Might need to go with a bit more of that colour. Yeah, I think I'll leave that at that. Colours under here a little bit cooler, so maybe add a little bit of blue in there. So you've got warm colours and cool colours in the background. I quite like that. That almost ticks out with some of the colours in the fireplace. And then the next bit would be just the wooden frame around the mirror. Go with some a mixture of red and cadmium yellow and a little bit of burnt umber. And I'll start slightly lighter, and I've added some medium just to make that a bit more transparent. If I wanted to make sure I get the edges square, sometimes I just use a bit of wood or a bit of cardboard and just use that as a ruler. So I can get kind of nice sharp edge. That's quite a nice way of getting. And then if you do that, you just need to wipe it. Otherwise that just will print back on. Or the next one, do the same at the top. And then there's a few shadows and darker bits there. So again, just go with some of those. See, it's possible to go, paint things like that in relatively quickly. And to me, it's a little bit like sketching. We're just sketching with brushes and colour, rather than sort of kind of drawing everything out very, very sharply. So I think I'm fairly happy with that. I deliberately lifted the mirror up from the mantelpiece. Again, just a slight change, but just all the way to it. And from there, I'll be working through simple things like chairs, and then some table, and then perhaps a little bit of these details here, a few highlights. So I'll probably bring this one back in.
So when you sketched out the original pencil outline, when you started with the flowers, but then blocking in the colour behind, did you block out the black in the fireplace and then do the flowers, or did you do the flowers and then the black around it?
I think I did the black around it, but I left some gaps.
Okay.
So I'm kind of almost like treating it like a painting I do on site in one here, sort of almost like in one layer. So if you're working, say outdoors, or you're working in one session, you can only get so much wet paint over wet paint. So, I mean, if you wanted, you could black it all out, let that dry, and then go back in with the white. But if you haven't got the time to do that, it's best to just leave a little bit of space, and you can slightly overlap it, but you won't be able to get too much. Otherwise, you start picking up the paint underneath. I suppose the other thing you could do is, if you didn't want to paint it on really thick, you could get a knife. I'll just do a little bit here. You could kind of add a bit on like that. That would be pretty thick, sort of thicker bits you can kind of add on. That's another way. And really, sometimes it seems like, well, a lot of artists like to put the darker tones on thinly and then the lighter bits on thick, and that works really well with oils. If you did it the other way around, the light's thin and the dark's thick, it can look a little bit, just unpleasant, just not very attractive, really. Yeah. So it's one of those little things that I've noticed other people do. It does seem to work quite nicely.
So you've got pink toned paper.
Yeah.
So would you, so I'm looking at the table from here,
yeah.
It's got quite a pink tone itself.
This has.
Yeah.
It has slightly, hasn't it? Yeah. So it might be, again, I quite liked, it wasn't intentional this, it's just I happened to have some pink and some white primer and I mixed them together, all red. It was like a terracotta colour. Just old paint lying around, but it's worked quite nice. I quite like that as a tone. I think I might do some wood boards that colour.
That was acrylic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's acrylic primer, acrylic gesso. It's all pretty much the same. Gesso has just got a tiny bit of texture to it, but anything that's something acrylic based is quite good. For things like this, quick demos, I could even use emulsion paint. That would work. I don't know how long lasting emulsion paint would be, but probably acrylic primer's a little bit longer lasting. Okay. Yep. Right. Give it
Yeah.